Unlocking the Soul, a podcast hosted by Rob Simperman and produced by Simplify Films.
Topic 56, my Galactic Akashic Records Reading. So I recently learned about Galactic Akashic Records Reading, or GARR, G-A-R-R. So of course I had to have one for myself. And what I learned blew my mind. So please like and subscribe before we get started to show your support, and we'll jump right in. Two of my friends introduced me to Dr. Ilknur Tulunay from Australia. So I reached out and had a virtual session with her over Zoom a few days ago.
Now this white light beam from the center of Earth, through your heart chakra to the divine point, is getting enlarged and large and large, getting full of your body within.
From what I can tell, the main difference between a GARR and a quote-unquote normal Akashic reading is GARR's focus on our heritage among the various planetary systems and species that played pivotal roles in the founding and management of humanity on Earth, including Lyra, Vega, reptilians, Pleiadians, Orions, Andromedans, Antares, and more. I never thought much about these supposedly mythical people, but I was open-minded and found out. The Akashic Records, also known as the Book of Life, are understood as a metaphysical compendium of all knowledge and experience across the universe. They are thought to contain every thought, word, and action of every individual throughout time. The concept originates from the Sanskrit word akasha, which means ether or sky, suggesting these records exist in a non-physical plane. In many spiritual traditions, the Akashic Records are accessed by advanced practitioners for guidance, healing, and understanding one's soul's purpose. Some compare them to a cosmic library, where each soul has its own book that can be read for insights into past lives, present situations, and potential future outcomes. Ilknur explained to me that unlike a psychic reading, she channels the higher guides of her clients. There's a role of the person who channels, but it's more like the ability of perceiving. Most of the messages she gets are telepathic. Knowingness appears to her with a visual component, and if something does not resonate with a client, it may be because those implications are not yet clear in the current time and will become so over time. She goes down or up to the level of consciousness similar to the hypnosis levels that Dolores Cannon's regression hypnotherapy clients would achieve. She considers that ability a gift, and she uses it in service of humanity. And I have her permission to share her contact details in the description below this video for anybody interested in reaching out. In my session, we started with several visualization exercises to establish an energetic connection between ourselves and with the central point of the galaxy or universe. And Ilknur explained to me that the angelic beings that are my guides opened the Akashic Records and wanted to talk about my abilities. My first civilization in this galaxy was Vega. She explained that while Lyra was the masculine energy based on God consciousness, Vega was the feminine energy based on God consciousness. Having Vega consciousness from that humanoid civilization makes me relatively spiritual. It's a blue-skinned humanoid civilization, an environment that's warmer than Earth, where they do like shamanic journeys, dancing around fires, and can shift their consciousness between the spiritual side and the physical side. She says my guides say I have the ability to do this very easily, but I haven't been practicing this so much. To practice, I need to look within myself, to find that place and activate it, and just having this meeting is the first step to activating that ability in this lifetime. I should meditate and just let it be. I should bring my energy levels to my heart, not within the distraction of my mind's constant talking. I had several lifetimes with the Arcturian system as well. Arcturian beings study souls, soul missions, and determine where souls should incarnate next to help them move with their missions and on their journeys. Humanoids from this planet have elongated heads and bluish glowing skin. My first reaction was, I always thought that souls just went to what we call the spirit realm, or perhaps the 6th or so density plane for this type of work, but it didn't make sense to me that there was a star system associated with it. So I questioned that, and Ilknur explained, these are spiritual beings, as I had learned, But the Arcturus star system is where the portal or the galactic gate is to that place, so they're linked to that geography somewhat. It's also a place from where one can access Akashic Records. She clarified that if you went to this planet right now as humans, you wouldn't find these beings in the physical. But similar to how we're told that disincarnate souls can be among here without our 3D selves perceiving them, they can also be elsewhere. I guess that makes sense. Next, Ilknur told me that I went to the Arcturus for each incarnation planning session, like all souls do, but I personally was granted the opportunity to work in that soul processing unit and specialize in reviewing the options and helping facilitate soul choices, helping them to understand their missions and evolutionary needs. She described Arcturus as an academy that studies soul evolution. My guides say I have this knowledge. This is what I understood clearly at some state, but I'm not fully connected with it in this reality. But it's who I am. I've chosen to reactivate that wisdom and use that knowledge to help beings pass from third dimension to fifth dimension by helping souls grow. One of the issues I need to understand is karma. In this time of humanity, the energy is sweeping away a lot of karma, a cleaning up process. It's accelerating, but that won't be a problem for humans as long as they're willing to let things go. My role, based on my greater understanding, is to help people with this. I need to learn to behave like a mirror to other people, holding a space for them, my clients, until they realize what they need to let go of. This is one example of the abilities I need to activate in my current 3D home. I felt this ability resonated with me. Considering that at this moment I'm sharing this knowledge with my video audience, I am keenly aware of my inclination to help people come to understand the journey of their souls. And I'm aware of many who have learned such lessons from my own Unlocking the Soul ebook, audiobook, Tubi documentary, as well as discussions I have one-on-one. Ilknur explained one of the reasons for being on Earth right now as a light being is to hold the light for others, to integrate their emotions, and to grow their own souls. That feels right. Part of the reason I went into my own current career as a consultant is to help others be successful in their business goals rather than worrying about me getting credit for business success. I see a lot of overlap there in particular. It's my nature. Next, I was advised to focus on becoming synchronized with my higher self. Then things will come easily. As a giving soul, I'm meant to distribute to others rather than to hold abundance. That's why things have come easily to me so far, and I've always sensed that. Whenever I work hard at something, I seem to succeed at it, even if it doesn't turn out quite the way I initially expected. Now, this next galactic heritage Ilknur described for me was my experience with the Pleiadian system. Pleiadians are very emotional beings, but they initially chose to only feel positive emotions. They eventually came to understand that they couldn't evolve further while avoiding the negative emotions. Fear, hatred, jealousy couldn't be avoided altogether or suppressed fully, but they could select which emotions to experience without getting carried away by them. And on Earth, there's an emotional cleaning happening. It's like a pendulum, fluctuating from negative to positive. Similar to the Pleiadians' realization, it's crucial for our passage to the 5D Earth to integrate positive and negative emotions and understand them as energy. If you go into it, something has to be cleared. If you naturally understand emotions, it means that they are integrated. And my role, based on my skills, is to help clean up emotional issues on Earth and help humankind integrate those emotions. And this is yet another point that really resonated with me. Anyone who knows me would say that I have very steady emotions and am an internal optimist. That said, I do feel negative emotions occasionally, but I don't let them carry me away. And considering the surge of negative emotions that surround the Earth currently, I'm aware of them, but I feel like I don't get pulled in. She explained that people who get pulled into hatred or anger or fear have something that needs to be healed. I'm aware of this and have a duty to help others heal. I then asked whether my current health issues would have anything to do with negative emotions that I have repressed. She explained that souls have two options. As a soul, we have the choice to either deal with illnesses, number one, by healing them step by step in association with other individuals who enter our lives through healing together, Or number 2, to decide that we don't want the ailment anymore and simply remove it. Just let it go. So my plan previously may have been to overcome repressed emotions along with others over time, but we can change that plan now because we have the power to do so. I was skeptical and thought, should I really be changing my higher self's plan now while I'm down here incarnated among the temporary amnesia of the earth? But she explained that by connecting with my higher self, which is part of me, we can change that plan. And I came up with an example. Perhaps I developed sleep apnea recently. As a result, joined online communities and helped others and supported them as they dealt with their own emotions. And that experience would not have been possible if I simply let that ailment go immediately. The approach is simply to let it go, and the only barrier is a lack of true belief that I have the power to do so. That comes from the misconception that there are others or another higher power that prevents me from making these decisions, but that's just not true. And at this point, I was told a group of Arcturians, a group of Vegans, and a group of Pleiadians each took turns giving me downloads via my crown chakra at the top of my head. And then as a group, the guides offered to scan the health of my body, which I gave my permission for. They started with my feet, and here are some of the things they noted. That my right foot, near the ankle, has inflammation. I didn't recognize that. It's nothing that I've ever noticed. Next, they said that I need magnesium and that my muscles are not relaxed. I need to stretch out more. In fact, I had just taken karate class that day as well as a previous time that week, and I used the elliptical machine at the gym about once a week, as well as other exercises. I go jogging, so I wasn't quite sure how much more I could do for my hips and flexibility, but I couldn't disagree that I'm not the most flexible person and never have been, so fine. Next, she said my organs work well, but my liver could benefit from detoxification. Can't disagree with that, makes sense. That my stomach is sensitive, and it's due to getting non-processed emotions from other people around me. So I need to protect myself when I am with others by constructing a pillar of white light around me. And I do have acid reflux issues with my stomach, so there could be something to that. She said my kidneys and lungs are healthy, not bad. My upper back has a bit of pain, which is fairly accurate again due to my recent vigorous karate class. And she discussed my heart chakra, which is very important for containing unconditional love for the soul growth. Our duty as a soul and as a healer is to open our hearts even for negative emotions. And she said I had a golden heart, which she found beautiful to see. But the area above my heart chakra is the thymus gland, and it's affected physically in my case. She suggested meditation to clean out this gland so it will harmonically work and will help my throat chakra. And the color of light green, lighter than turquoise, is what I am to imagine during meditation. So this will help me on multiple planes. It's like, she said, chanting, whatever comes to mind, not just like Om, but any frequencies, anything that comes from my heart is something that I should be expressing verbally. She talked about my nasal inflammation, which I had not mentioned previously. She said it was due to polluted air and suggested using a neti pot, which I do occasionally already. And that it's mostly a physical issue, not something with emotional baggage. She said my guides suggest meditating with breathing in one nostril and out the other while imagining myself in one of my favorite places, a planet called Procyon, with sparkling water and white sands, where I could stay underwater as long as I liked while I was on that planet. It's known as a holiday spot for the galaxy, and I liked it there for a while. Remember that place and who I am, and be patient. It's a process, and enjoy it. I wondered if that's why I have an enjoyment for scuba diving in this life. I asked more about my sleep apnea I developed about a year ago, and after a silence, she responded that it was related to a kind of DNA error, part of the structure coming to this world. DNA is very complex coming from these several different heritages, plus my life underwater caused some complications. And I gave my permission for 3 beings using white light to fix this. They finished, and she told me I did not need to use the CPAP machine anymore, and that I can breathe fine. She said I was getting new energy from all sides to activate all the changes discussed. It's like a cosmic egg of energy around my body, and asked if I felt it. I said I felt healthy and energetic. I was sitting cross-legged in meditation posture during this session and was sore from the beginning of the 90-minute discussion, but by this time I felt no discomfort. She then closed the session, and I was left with a reminder that the Pleiadians, Vegans, and Arcturians are my guides and my friends. I'm thinking at this point that I should resume channeling soon. And aside here is that I tried sleeping without the CPAP machine that night, and I had a decent night's sleep with a good amount of deep and REM cycles, and it was hard to fall asleep at first, and then I woke up for about 45 minutes in the middle of the night the next morning. But I turned the pressure down so I could get a gauge of how many apnea events I had, and it was in the normal range, a little better than usual, so I'll keep experimenting to safely judge any improvement. But during that late night insomnia session, I felt an idea come to my mind rather dramatically. Not quite an audible voice, but closer to that than a normal thought. It was that I had been a slave owner in a past life. I didn't know where that idea came from, but the more I thought about it, it tied together a few other experiences and ideas. First, I had done 2 past life regression sessions in recent years. Neither was very satisfying. In the first, I was a merchant in a small town in the 1700s or 1800s in Europe. My son died as an apprentice in a neighboring town, but I didn't see the next scene. And at the other session I had, I was drowning next to a ship with a lot of debris floating in the ocean, and it seemed like a similar 1800s time period. But I didn't see anything beyond that scene either. So what if my choice tonight, to deal with my emotional baggage now rather than later throughout my life, helped reveal being a slave owner, and that was what prevented my past lives from being fully revealed then? That what if after my son died in that first session, that I had closed up shop and moved to the new world, and being a merchant got into the slave trade, and then to repay that karma had a subsequent life where I was a slave, and like many others at that time, perhaps got thrown overboard and was still shackled around the neck, which explains my memory of drowning there, as well as some of the issues I have with my throat and swallowing in this life and breathing in this life. So those are just theories, but it does connect a lot of dots. And it did come to me rather dramatically when I expected it to. But it was great that revelation came out so quickly. This is a time for cleaning. Depending on our paths, the energies on Earth allow souls to release their karma without getting deeply into the past life details. Once the soul is aware of what was meant to be learned, the soul may choose then to let it go. So that's where we left it. In conclusion, much more felt right than wrong. And I have some useful plans to get on my own path, to meditate, to activate my ability to shift between the physical and the spiritual, to act as a mirror, to help other people understand their missions and their soul's evolutionary needs, to help others heal from difficult emotions by being a good example and being calming or positive as an example for them, to connect with my higher self through meditation and channeling and decide on any changes to my optimal course and ideal experiences. And then hip stretches, magnesium supplements, constructing a pillar of white light around me when interacting with others, visualizing light green between my heart and throat chakras, and verbalizing sounds that come from my heart, and to let go of other ailments. So if you're interested in learning more about this perspective, and even getting trained in reading Akashic Records and revealing galactic heritages, I can point you first to the site and the trainings of Debbie Solaris. It's debbiesolaris.com, and I'll put her link down below. And she has a lot of videos and information on her websites. And you can, of course, reach out to Ilknur Tulunay, and I'll give her name down below, and you can connect on Facebook with her if you'd like. And as always, please like and subscribe to show your support, and pass this video on to anybody else who would benefit from what you learned here today. Thank you, my friends.